All right, guys. So we got to talk about some bad news here as the Democrats have officially won the Senate. And this comes after the Nevada race has been called between Catherine Cortez-Masto, the Democrat, and Adam Laxalt, the Republican, as this was an extremely tight race in which it looked like Adam Laxalt was going to win. I mean, he was basically ahead for most of the race. And then at the end, the Democrat came back and won. I guess they found enough ballots to declare her the victor. Again, it's so funny how this always goes in the direction of the Democrats. It always goes in direction of the Democrats when this happens. It's almost like Republicans never come back from behind and win, okay? I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying there's some strange patterns here that just don't really make sense. But hey, this is what happened. The Democrats have won the Senate, and to make things even worse, but we got to talk about it here, it looks like the Democrats actually still have a chance to hold on to the House as well, too. Take a look.
Yeah, Ali, we've been tracking that battle for control of the House, which is still unsettled, and our NBC News decision desk has been updating its estimate of where it's going to land. We still have more than 20 uncalled races, and the decision desk has just revised its estimate for where the House will land. And look at this, 218 seats needed for a majority in the House, and we are now estimating that Republicans will finish with 219. That is down from our previous estimate, which had them at 220. And I would stress the margin for error here is plus or minus 4 seats. So the Republican range could still extend into the low 220s, but it could also fall under 218, meaning that Democrats still very much have a possibility of retaining control of the House. Again, our estimate is now 219 to 216, and that is plus or minus 4 seats. So the House very much in play according to our model. And what that means just in terms of where the action is, here's the big picture. Red are the seats Republicans have won. Blue, the seats the Democrats have won. Gray are the uncalled seats. There are 21, I could put the full number here. There are 211 seats so far that Republicans have won. There are 203 that Democrats have won. That leaves 21 uncalled Democrat versus Republican races that are going to decide control of the House. Democrats are going to need to win 15 of those 21 districts. That will give them control. Republicans will need to win 7 of those 15. That will get them control.
All right, guys, so let me explain to you what's going on here. Democrats have taken the Senate, which means that worst case scenario for them, they have 50 Democratic senators. It is a tie between Republicans and Democrats. Now, this all comes down to Georgia in the race between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker that is going to a runoff. Democrats could potentially get 51 seats in the Senate. Republicans will have 49. Democrats will have a clear majority. They don't need the Kamala Harris tiebreaker anymore. Now, we're going to talk about the ramifications of this stuff here in a little bit, but I just want to set the stage for you guys. Now, when it comes to the House, Republicans are still likely to win. However, if they do win, it's going to be by a razor-thin majority. And there's still a possibility that Democrats could win the House. Now, I'm going to talk about, again, what this means for us from a legislative perspective, from whether or not Biden can get his agenda done perspective. But first, I want to note this. Is that, again, the House was just weird, okay? You had a lot of races that were a lot closer than they should have been, and some races were just outright surprises. Like this race right here between Lauren Boebert and Adam Fish. Lauren Boebert has taken the lead, but again, it's razor thin. This race wasn't expected to be competitive, but it was. And then you just have some outright surprises right here, where you have this race in Washington for their third House seat between Joe Kent and this Democrat. And Joe Kenton's America First Republican. He was predicted to win this race 98% of the time, right? It means that if this race happened 100 times, he would have won 98. It just so happens that this Democrat won this race, even though basically it was statistically impossible for her to win. Again, fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating stuff. This Democrat is a radical Democrat. I did a video the other day about how she couldn't even answer questions about whether or not biological girls and boys should be able to compete in sports, or the question of whether or not minors should be able to transition, despite the fact that her state allows minors to transition without parental consent, which again is disgusting. For whatever reason, Democrats still vote for this, right? They don't care, okay? They're that deranged. And going back to Nevada, we're seeing the same trends that we saw in other states that, again, were kind of swing states that didn't really go our way, whether we're talking about Michigan, Pennsylvania, etc. It's this issue of abortion, in which you had 28% of the electorate in Nevada vote on this issue, saying that this was the issue that mattered the most. It decided how they voted, and 89% of those people were Democrats that voted based off abortion, which means that, again, they voted Democrat. I'm just saying, this is the same pattern. Look at the married women, right? Non-married women, 21% of the electorate, 57% of them voted Democrat. Same pattern we're seeing. So the good thing is that you can easily identify what the problem is, which means that the problem is fixable in 2024 if you strategize right. And again, that just means that the GOP needs to have some type of counter messaging for the abortion issue. Apparently, again, overturning Roe v. Wade made people think that abortion was going to be illegal across the whole country. And that just galvanized a very specific block of Democratic voters, basically young college women, young women, to come out and vote in droves for Democrats over this issue. And Republicans need a counter message. And I think more than anything, it comes down to education, because Democrats just flat out lied about this issue, specifically when it comes to this guy Laxalt out in Nevada. They ran ads where they just said that, hey, this guy wants to have a ban. He just wants to just flat out ban abortion. And that's just not true. He actually never said that. He celebrated Roe v. Wade being overturned, but he never said that he wanted a complete ban on abortion, but it didn't matter. Democrats said, hey, he wants a complete ban on abortion, no exceptions. They rolled an ad. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. These people believe it. It gets them out to vote. So Republicans, they're really, really, really going to have to figure out some messaging on this issue that at the very least won't piss people off enough to come out and vote on this issue like they did during these midterms. So with that being said, here's what I want to talk about. I want to explain to you guys what it means now that the Democrats have the majority in the Senate, and what can we expect going forward based off worst and best case scenarios. So let's go ahead and get into this. And I want to start with the worst case scenario so that we understand what could happen if the worst scenario happens in this situation, which is that Democrats pick up another seat in the Senate by winning the Georgia race, and Democrats also winning the House as well too, which is unlikely. But if that happens, basically Democrats control the agenda in the House. Okay, they can pass whatever legislation they want through the House, and in the Senate, it's going to come down to Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Okay, and this time, you're going to need both of them to hold strong, because Democrats simply just need 50 votes to repeal the filibuster. Okay, the only reason that the Biden administration did not repeal the filibuster is because Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema were standing in the way. But if they fold, then that's going to be an issue this time. And only one of them need to fold if they win 51 seats in order to repeal the filibuster. And best believe, if the Democrats do win 51 seats, like an outright majority, they don't need Kamala Harris anymore. There's going to be a ton of pressure. There's going to be massive pressure on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema to vote to repeal the filibuster. It's going to be massive pressure. So with that being said, it's going to come down to them two. And the next scenario, if Republicans tie the Senate, okay, but Democrats still maintain control because of having the presidency, okay? If it's 50-50 and the Democrats have the House, then what happens is that we're back in the same scenario that we're in right now, in which we are depending on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, at least one of them, we just need one of them, to hold strong on the filibuster. As long as one of them holds strong on the filibuster, then we really don't have to worry too much about Biden's agenda. Now, of course, with Democrats controlling the Senate, they're going to control judicial nominations as well, too. However, that's not that big of a deal because Trump and McConnell did a good job filling up the courts with conservatives during the Trump administration. So that's not going to be that big of an issue. But again, what we not have to worry about the most is the filibuster and that getting repealed. So in the next scenario here that I want to talk about is if Republicans control the House and Democrats control the Senate. Republicans controlling the House will stifle the Democrats' agenda because bills have to be approved by the House and the Senate before they get to Biden's desk. At least we have control of one House, which would allow us to effectively block Biden's agenda. We don't necessarily even need to filibuster. It'll just be stopped in the House, okay? Because we will control all things in the House, and we could fill up time in the House doing things that, again, don't involve pushing Biden's agenda. So with that being said, the most likely scenario here, guys, even considering the Republicans losing the Senate, is that Biden's agenda still won't go anywhere unless we get a almost impossible situation where the Democrats win 51 seats, and then you have Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema fold, and the Democrats win the House as well, too. That is when you get into the territory of, well, all bets are off. Biden can do whatever he wants if that happens. But again, that is very unlikely. However, a whole lot of things that have been very unlikely have been happening during this midterm. So in my opinion, I'm just going to say, look, I don't know. We just got to wait and see. I just want you guys to understand the possible scenarios here and what they mean moving forward. Again, it is shameful that it has come down to this, but hopefully we can hold up enough to, at the very least, still be able to stop Biden from advancing his agenda, which would, again, put us in a stalemate for another 2 years. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.